My fiancée said, "Stop questioning my decisions. You don't get a say in them." I replied, "Good to know." After that, I stopped sharing any decisions that involved us both. Days later, when she discovered a major change everyone else already knew about, her reaction was nothing short of shock. I'm 29, and until recently, I thought I had my life figured out. I'd been with my fiancée for 4 years, engaged for 8 months. We lived together in a 2-bedroom apartment downtown that we'd picked out together after months of searching. She worked in marketing, I worked remotely in software consulting. On paper, everything looked perfect. The problems started small, like they always do. She'd make plans without asking me, then get defensive when I pointed out that maybe we should have discussed it first. Booking a vacation during the week I'd requested off for my brother's bachelor party. Inviting her parents to stay with us for 2 weeks without checking my schedule. Signing us up for an expensive gym membership neither of us would use. Every time I tried to talk about it, she'd wave me off with some version of, "I don't need permission to make decisions." But the conversation that changed everything happened on a Tuesday night in late September. We were sitting at the kitchen table, and I'd just found out she'd put down a non-refundable deposit on a wedding venue without telling me. $3,000. For a place I'd never even seen. "Why didn't you tell me you were doing this?" I asked, trying to keep my voice level. She didn't even look up from her phone. "Because I knew you'd overthink it. Someone had to make a decision. It's our wedding. Don't you think I should have at least seen the place? I sent you pictures last month. You sent me a link I never opened because you said you were just browsing. There's a difference between browsing and putting down $3,000. She finally looked at me, and her expression was cold. "Stop questioning my decisions. You don't get a say in them." I sat there for a moment, letting that sink in. I don't get a say in decisions about our wedding. You get a say. But I'm not going to run everything by you like I need approval. I'm an adult. So am I. That's why we should make these decisions together. She stood up, grabbed her wine glass, and headed toward the bedroom. This conversation is exhausting. Do whatever you want, but stop acting like I need your permission for everything. I stared at the closed bedroom door for a long time. Then I said, quietly, to no one, "Good to know." That night, something shifted in me. If she didn't want me involved in decisions, fine. I wouldn't be involved. But that also meant she didn't get to be involved in mine. The next morning, I started making calls. First, to my landlord from my old apartment. He still had my number saved, and when I asked if he had any units available, he said he had a 1-bedroom opening up in November. I told him I'd take it. Signed the lease digitally that afternoon. Second call was to my brother, confirming I'd be his best man and that I'd handle the bachelor party planning. He was thrilled. I booked everything that week. Cabin upstate, activities, catering. Didn't mention any of it at home. Third, I called the wedding venue. Explained the situation calmly. Asked about their cancellation policy. Turns out, if you cancel within 30 days of the deposit, you lose everything. After 30 days, but before 90, you get 50% back. I noted the dates and thanked them for their time. At home, I became a ghost in my own life. She'd talk about wedding plans, and I'd nod. She'd mention ideas for the honeymoon, and I'd say sounds nice. I stopped offering opinions, stopped engaging. When she asked what I thought about something, I'd shrug and say, "Whatever you think is best." She loved it at first. Thought I'd finally come around to letting her take the lead. She started making more decisions, bigger ones. Chose the caterer, the photographer. Sent out save the dates with a date she'd picked. I watched it all happen like I was watching a TV show about someone else's life. 2 weeks after our kitchen table conversation, I told my parents privately that the wedding might not happen. My mom cried, but she understood. My dad asked if I was sure, and I told him I'd never been more sure of anything. I asked them not to say anything yet, and they agreed. I told my brother the same day. He was angry on my behalf. Called her some names I won't repeat, but he supported me. Said I could stay with him if I needed to. I told him about the apartment I'd already lined up. My best friend since college was the third person I told. He'd never liked her anyway. Thought she was controlling. He offered to help me move when the time came. I took him up on it. Meanwhile, she planned an entire wedding around herself. I'd come home, and she'd be on the phone with vendors, talking about we and our vision when she meant I and my vision. She picked out my tuxedo without me trying it on. Chose a honeymoon destination I'd never wanted to visit. Every decision made without me, exactly like she wanted. I started documenting everything too. Not in a creepy way, but I kept a simple calendar noting every major decision she made without consulting me. The flowers she ordered in colors I'd mentioned disliking. The DJs she booked who specialized in music genres I couldn't stand. The cake flavors she confirmed that I was allergic to. Actually allergic, not just preferring something else. When I casually mentioned the allergy issue one night, she laughed it off. "There'll be other desserts," she said dismissively. At my own wedding. Our wedding. And yes, not everything has to be about you. I just nodded and added it to my mental list of reasons this was the right choice. Update 1: 3 weeks in, I started moving things out slowly. Nothing she'd notice at first. Some books, winter clothes I wouldn't need for a while, my old gaming console from college. My friend kept it all at his place. I transferred money from our joint account to my personal one, bit by bit. Legal amounts. Nothing that would raise flags. Just securing what was mine. I also started separating our finances in other ways. Changed my direct deposit to go only to my personal account. Called the utility companies and removed my name from the accounts, leaving everything in hers. Called our internet provider and did the same. Legally, cleanly, quietly. The bachelor party was the first weekend of October. I told her I was going, and she barely looked up from her wedding binder. "Have fun," she said, not even asking where or when. It was a great weekend. My brother, my friends, nobody talking about my imploding relationship unless I brought it up. Just guys being guys, enjoying the mountains and terrible karaoke and too much bourbon. I felt lighter than I had in months. I came back Sunday night, and she was sitting on the couch with her laptop, looking at bridesmaid dresses. "How was it?" she asked. "Good. That's it. Just good." "Yeah. It was good." She rolled her eyes and went back to her shopping. I went to the bedroom and packed another box. By mid-October, I'd moved about half my stuff. She still hadn't noticed. The apartment was big enough that empty spaces in closets and shelves didn't register. Or maybe she just wasn't paying attention. I think that was the saddest part, realizing she was so absorbed in her own world that she didn't notice mine was disappearing. On October 18th, exactly 31 days after her kitchen table declaration, I called the venue again. Cancelled the booking. Got 50% of the deposit back. $1,500 returned to the credit card I'd quietly gotten in my name only. She didn't know because she'd never asked which card I'd supposedly helped pay the deposit with. I called the photographer next. They'd only received a small retainer, easy to cancel. Then the caterer. Same story. I unwound every vendor contract I could access. The ones that had needed both our signatures were that she'd somehow put in my name thinking I wouldn't notice. The save the dates had gone out, but I couldn't stop those. Oh well. People would figure it out eventually. My coworkers knew something was up. I'd been quieter in meetings, less engaged in the casual Friday video chats. My manager pulled me aside virtually one afternoon and asked if everything was okay. I gave him the abbreviated version, and he was surprisingly supportive. Told me to take whatever time I needed when the move happened. Good guy. Update 2: The breaking point came on October 23rd, a Saturday morning. I was packing the last of my kitchen stuff, things I'd bought before we moved in together, when she walked in from her morning run. She stopped in the doorway, staring at the boxes. "What are you doing?" "Packing." "Packing what?" "What?" "I'm moving out." The color drained from her face. "What are you talking about?" "Moving out where?" "New apartment. Lease starts November 1st. You got an apartment. When?" "Last month." She looked around wildly, like she was seeing the half-empty apartment for the first time. "Last month. You've been planning this for a month. About that, yeah. And you didn't think to tell me. I stopped packing and looked at her directly. Stop questioning my decisions. You don't get a say in them. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. I could see her brain working, replaying the conversation from the kitchen. Realizing exactly what I'd just quoted back at her. That's not the same thing. She finally stammered. Isn't it? You said I don't get a say in your decisions. So you don't get a say in mine. That's fair, right? We're engaged. We're supposed to get married. Are we? Because you've spent the last month planning a wedding I'm not involved in. You picked everything without me. The venue. The food. The music. My tuxedo. You didn't want my input, so I stopped giving it. That's not what I meant. Then what did you mean? She was crying now. Angry tears. I meant stop micromanaging me. Stop making me feel like I can't do anything without running it by you first. There's a difference between micromanaging and being a partner in shared decisions. But you didn't want a partner. You wanted an audience. So you're just leaving. Just like that. Just like that. What about the wedding? What about all the plans? I pulled out my phone, showed her the cancellation confirmations. Already handled. You'll get some deposits back. Others are gone. But don't worry, I didn't question any of your decisions. I just made my own. She grabbed the phone, scrolling through the emails. Her face went from red to white to red again. You canceled the venue? The photographer? How did you even? Turns out I was on more of those contracts than you realized. Funny how that works. Everyone knows. The save the dates went out. What am I supposed to tell people? That's your decision to make. I don't get a say in it, remember? She threw my phone at me. I caught it. She was full on sobbing now. The kind of crying that makes it hard to breathe. Part of me felt bad. But a bigger part felt free. I can't believe you're doing this. She gasped out between sobs. I can't believe it took you a month to notice I was doing it. That landed hard. She stared at me like I'd slapped her. Maybe I had, in a way. She sank onto the couch, her hands shaking. We could have talked about this. We could have worked it out. Could we? Every time I tried to talk, you shut me down. Every time I wanted to be involved, you made me feel like I was in the way. I was stressed. Planning a wedding is stressful. So is being erased from your own wedding. She looked up at me, mascara running down her face. What do you want me to say? That I'm sorry. Fine, I'm sorry. Is that enough? It's not about sorry. It's about respect. And you didn't respect me as a partner. Final update. I moved out November 1st. My friend and brother helped. She wasn't there. Had gone to stay with her parents for the week. She left me a note on the counter that just said, we could have fixed this. But we couldn't have. Not really. Because fixing it would have required her to see me as an equal partner. And she never did. The fallout was messy but predictable. Her parents called me. Angry and confused. I explained calmly what had happened. The full timeline. Her dad actually apologized to me. Said he'd noticed she'd been controlling with past boyfriends too but hoped she'd grown out of it. Her mom hung up mid-conversation. Friends took sides. Some understood. Some thought I was cruel for how I handled it. I lost a few people I thought would stick around. Gained respect from others who'd seen how one-sided things had become. She tried to reach out after the first week. Long texts about how she understood now. How she'd change. How we could start over. I didn't respond. Then angry texts about how I'd humiliated her. Ruined her reputation. Made her look like a fool. Those I didn't respond to either. By December, she'd moved on, at least publicly. New relationship. New guy. Same patterns from what mutual friends told me. Apparently, she was already making major decisions about their relationship without consulting him. I felt bad for him but stayed out of it. Not my circus anymore. As for me, I love my apartment. It's smaller, quieter, entirely mine. I make decisions about furniture and wall colors, and what to have for dinner without needing consensus or approval. It's lonely sometimes, but it's honest loneliness, not the worst kind where you're lonely next to someone else. My work improved too. Without the constant stress at home, I was sharper in meetings, more creative with problem solving. My manager noticed and hinted at a promotion coming in the new year. Funny how much mental energy a bad relationship drains without you realizing it. I started dating again in January. Nothing serious. Just coffee here and there. One woman asked me early on what my deal breakers were. I told her. Someone who doesn't value partnership, who makes unilateral decisions about shared things, who doesn't see me as an equal. She nodded like she understood completely. Turned out she'd been in a similar situation years ago. I learned something important. Partnership isn't about control or permission. It's about respect. About recognizing that when you share a life with someone, you share decisions too. Not every decision. Not every detail. But the big ones. The ones that affect you both. And when someone tells you that you don't get a say in those decisions, believe them. Then make your own.